welcome of this church could be extended even wider to embrace people with probably one of the most common experiences shared by caregivers is the difficulty finding acceptance and belonging in a supportive community due to the stigma associated with mental illness. During the worst of my experiences with my ex-partner, I would often come to church and sit in one of the pews, unable to speak of what was happening to anyone. How do you talk about such things when they're not part of the everyday conversation of a community, when the subject of mental illness carries so much stigma and misunderstanding? There were days when my ex-partner was doing well and would have benefited from belonging to a community that accepted her just as she was. However, she was raised in a faith community which associated mental illness with sinful behavior, a sign of weakness of character. I could not convince her that the church was a safe place for her to be. According to the World Health Organization, 1 in 4 people will be affected by a mental health challenge in their lifetime. It is estimated that currently 450 million people worldwide are living with a diagnosable mental illness. Each week, there are people in our pews who have depression, bipolar disorder, anxiety, grief, stress, addiction, dementia, or a myriad of other mental health challenges. Many suffer in silence, afraid that their secret will be discovered by family, friends, or coworkers. Others serve as caregivers, family members, and friends who try to help navigate through a mental health system that is broken, who also may feel that they cannot share their story. In addition to those already in our pews, there are other people who suffer mental health challenges who are hesitant to enter the doors of the church. Many times, this is because they've been convinced by the theology that still exists in some congregation that their illness is the result of demonic possession or sinful behavior. The stigma created by such beliefs is a dehumanizing barrier that often sets those with mental health challenges apart from the rest of the community, based on societal norms of mental wellness. As theologian John Swinton explains, in the minds of the media and the general public, people with mental health problems frequently cease being persons. Instead, they become identified by their pathologies, schizophrenics or manic depressives, terms that substitute their primary identity as human beings made in God's image and passionately loved by God for a socially constructed way of being that seriously limits their life's possibilities. Jesus models for his disciples barrier-breaking friendship, the type of friendship that dissolves stigma, revealing the humanity of the person and the gifts that they were given by God to share. Swinton describes the friendship of Jesus best when he says, Jesus' friendships were always personal as opposed to instrumental, primarily aimed at regaining the dignity of personhood of those whose society had rejected and depersonalized. The Gospels are rich in stories of Jesus' freeing love that flows outward from his being towards the edges of the margins, giving the oppressed new life by pulling them towards the center of community. One such story of Jesus' ministry that I find particularly relevant to the experience of those with mental health challenge is this morning's gospel lesson. Legion's behavior, what we would recognize today as untreated mental illness, caused him to be cast out of his community, away from any love and support and care that he might receive. With no other options, he'd been forced to live out his life in isolation on the margins of society. If Jesus had simply driven out the demons from this man's body, this event would have been recorded as yet another miraculous healing. Instead, Jesus broke through the boundaries that separated this man from community by restoring his dignity and restoring his sense of self-worth by giving him a job to perform. He sent Legion back into the community to proclaim the word. In this way, Jesus broke through the barrier to Legion's full inclusion in the life of his community and let him know that he was an integral part of that community. It was where he belonged. Had Legion remained an outcast, he would have been vulnerable, alone and susceptible once again to the return of the demons that had tormented him. Instead, he was transformed by Jesus' healing and given new life and new opportunity to develop into the person that God meant him to be through the friendship of Jesus that worked to restore his humanity. As the story of Legion illustrates, the boundary-breaking love offered as genuine friendship by Jesus breaks through stigma that separates people with mental health challenges from community, liberating them from isolation. Throughout his ministry, Jesus continually demonstrated that each life in the community matters, extending a hand in friendship that moves beyond mere inclusion towards truly belonging. In the parable of the lost sheep, the shepherd leaves behind the 99 sheep to search for the one member of the flock that has gone astray. At a glance, it seems rather preposterous to abandon the rest of the flock to chase after the one that's gone missing. However, I agree with theologian Andrew Sung Park's interpretation that this parable illustrates that for Jesus, each member of the community has inherent worth. Park explains, it doesn't seem that the lost one is needed for the survival of the rest of the sheep. Christ, however, regards the lost one as indispensable for the rest, redefining the meaning of indispensability. If Jesus felt so strongly about the loss of one sheep, how would he feel potentially 25 of his flock went missing due to mental health challenges, and another unknown number slipped away as their caregivers? And yet that is exactly what is at stake when people are made to feel as if they do not belong in a community due to the stigma of mental illness. More than simply feeling included, belonging makes each person feel as if they matter and that their absence tears away at the fabric of the community, making it incomplete. Quite simply, the church cannot be the church without each person feeling that they belong. It is the feeling of belonging that works to dissolve the barrier of stigma by destroying the loneliness and fear that stigma creates. There's much work to be done to eliminate the stigma attached to mental illness. I believe that the church is a special place to begin these conversations, and it is why I believe that the work being done within this church community is so important. It is here that we can work to deconstruct the bad theology that is often associated mental illness with sinfulness and demonic.
As I mentioned earlier, we are so pleased today to welcome back to our church someone we are so very proud of, Sebastian Cesar. Sebastian was part of an organization called HELP, the Haitian Education and Leadership Program, which this congregation has supported for many years. He was the first student that we financially helped get through college, and he has been most successful. One of the requirements of being a student with HELP is that you must give back, not only to the village or town from where you have come, but also to Haiti and to other HELP students. So I want to tell you a brief story about Sebastian. I have saved everything like a proud mother about him that has been sent to us. His grades, the announcement about his internship with Citibank, and etc. But the nicest note I got was from the head of HELP, Connor Bohan, who wanted to let Leonie and me know that Sebastian very faithfully gives back some of his hard-earned resources to help other students who are part of the HELP organization so that they might graduate from college as well. In fact, Connor quoted Sebastian as saying, as he handed over one of his checks one day, that it is a moral duty for me to give this. If I became what I am today, it's because of other people's money, and I also have to help my brothers and sisters. It is indeed my privilege to welcome back among us Sebastian.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. So I'm so excited to be here. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. I'm so happy to be with you once again. 4 years ago, I was here with Mr. Connor, the director of the HELP program in Haiti, to thank you for all your support. So in addition, your help give me and others fellow Haitian hope for a better life. Forever, I will always be grateful to you for inspiring me and helping me become who I am today. Now, I am no longer afraid for my future. I have a degree in management, and I'm working at the PSS. PSS is a security company, so which provides services in Haiti. So I play the role. So I'm working as a human resources assistant. So thanks to you, I achieve all these things, and I am planning to be manager soon. I'm the first one to graduate in my family. I will not be the last. So thank you for the sacrifice you are making to donate to this organization. Now, I give back 15% of my salary every month, and I'm a mentor. So as you know, the situation in Haiti is very delicate. It's difficult. So I think, thanks to God and thanks the Health Mission, we can promote leaders in the future. Finally, I'd like to extend a very special thanks to Pastor Guillermo, to Pastor Laurie, and the entire CGCC. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you.
And now the whipped cream on this wonderful Sunday. We receive new members into our family. As I call their names, I invite them to please come forward. Stephanie Arcaya and Alexandra Garcia. Are they here? They will be here next week then. Roberto Semelin. Born in Cuba, Robert is actually a United Church of Christ minister and is a chaplain with Vitas. He enjoys listening to music and sports, and we are delighted to have you with us. You've already met him, but Rex Freihofer. Rex was born in Dallas, Texas, and is married to Adela, and they have a daughter, Juliana. He is head of operations for HMD Global, with the passionate responsibility of launching the Nokia phone brand. His interests include family, travel, basketball, jogging, and enjoying life. It's great to have you. You've also met Maritza Gomez Ortega. She was born in Havana, Cuba. She is a psychologist. She enjoys music and traveling. She and her partner Victor have one daughter who you also met earlier, Helen. Gabriela and George Lanza. Gabriela was born in Brazil and is the mother of two children, Isabella and Eduardo. George is also the father of the two children. She is an attorney. George is a business executive, and he appreciates all that he knows about Buddhism. He brings some real interest in Buddhism to us. They are also interested in nonprofit initiatives, connecting with Buddhism initiatives, and cancer-related activities. It's so lovely to have you with us. Michael Maxwell. We're actually welcoming Michael back. He was part of this congregation many years ago in his return. He was born in Panama City. He's a semi-retired real estate developer and a former professor of real estate, and he is becoming a high school teacher. He enjoys historic preservation, gardens, social justice, and community development. He is also the father of two grown children, Erica and Morgan. Welcome. Jose and Natalie Ortega. Jose was born in Miami and is a medical device sales rep. He enjoys reading, walking, traveling, philosophy, jiu-jitsu, and political science. He is married to Natalie, and they have two small children, one that you're meeting today, Olivia, and they also have Max. Natalie was also born in Miami, is a teacher and an attorney. She enjoys tennis, reading, walking, cooking, traveling, and also political science. How lovely to have you all with us. Ralph Perez and Christine Mogolan. Christine can't be with us today, so we will introduce her to all of you next week. But Ralph is from Miami and is general manager at Tags and Labels of Florida. He enjoys softball and baseball, work and business. He is engaged to Christine, and we will, as I said, introduce her next Sunday. She was born here in Miami and enjoys exercise, dance, and the outdoors. Good to have you. And Greg and Mary Shepard. They are from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Mary is retired and enjoys reading, walking, crossword puzzles, and travel. John has recently retired, we use that term, I suspect, loosely, right, as Dean of the School of Communications at the University of Miami. And his hobbies include golf, reading, travel, and hiking, and it's a pleasure to have you with us. So friends, we gather in community to offer our gifts to one another as we share together in a spiritual journey. It is in community that we learn who we truly are. In community, we come to respect and honor the otherness of those who travel with us. It's in community that we become bound to one another by a connection deeper than words. These individuals are here before us to pledge themselves to the journey. And so I ask all of you who are up here, is it your desire to become a member of this church? If so, answer, it is. Will you be faithful to this community? If so, answer, I will. Will you challenge this community to be the best version of itself and to live up to the things we say we believe? If so, answer, I will. And will you allow yourself to be changed, shaped, and transformed by this community, living into your called identity as a beloved child of God? If so, answer, I will. Friends, we rejoice this day in your pilgrimage of faith, which has brought you to this time and to this place. And we give thanks for every community of faith which has served as your spiritual home. And we now celebrate your presence in this household of faith. Will the members of Coral Gables Congregational United Church of Christ please stand as you are able? Family, will you be faithful to these new people as they join our congregation? If so, please answer, we will.
We will.
Will you challenge these new members to be the best version of themselves and to help them live up to the things they say they believe? If so, please answer, we will.
We will.
Will you allow yourself to be changed, shaped, and transformed by these new members, living into our called identity as a beloved community of God? If so, please say, we will.
We will.
Then let us together welcome these new members to our church family by using the words printed in the bulletin. We welcome you with joy into the common life of this church. We promise you our friendship and prayers as we support one another in the work to which we feel called, striving for peace and justice among all people, protecting and restoring the integrity of all God's creation, and bringing hope to those most vulnerable. Amen.
As vice moderator of this church, and on behalf of all the members of Coral Gables Congregational United Church of Christ, it is my pleasure to welcome you into our church family and into your new spiritual home. Please join me in welcoming these individuals into our church family.
I am going to invite all of you to come down here so that your church family, following the benediction and the singing of Alleluia, will come by and greet you and more formally welcome you. And just a reminder, please come to the Havoc course at 12:30 to hear more from Sebastian and more about our work with HELP and our new student who is part of that program. So Lisa, you want to share the benediction?
Go in peace, empowered by God's embrace that carries you forth into the world with the assurance that no matter who you are, your life matters, you are a beloved child of God, and you belong. Amen.
Why don't you come on down?